I request you all to be seated so that we can start with our next session for the day. Thank you so much. Now we will deep dive into a session which is all about estimating India's space economy with InSpace, progress, policy, and the road ahead. I'll give you a short brief about it. The session will delve into the ongoing efforts to quantify the size and scope of India's space economy, with a focus on the role of InSpace in driving commercialization, regularity reform, and private sector participation. And I would now request an esteemed panelist to introduce our moderator of the session, Professor Vinay Kumar Dadhwal, NIAS, to be please come on the dais and be seated, and other two panelists for the day, Dr. Vinod Kumar, Director InSpace, and Mr. Brijendra Singh, Deputy DG, National Accounts Division, MoSPI. Thank you so much, sir. I would now request our moderator to start with the session. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I, on my behalf and my co-panelist, Mr. Vinod Kumar and Mr. Brijendra Singh, welcome you to this session. The buzz what we have been seeing in this particular space Congress, as well as in its previous editions, is due to a policy shift. The policy shift is the opening of the India's space. And the one catalytic factor of that space is to provide all the support, regulation, planning, and various types of hand-holding to a new organization in space. So I'm very happy to welcome Mr. Vinod Kumar, who is Director Promotion in the InSpace. Also, since we are talking money, we have to put this in the national context, and we have Mr. Brijendra Singh. He is of the Indian Statistical Service 1999 batch, and for past 8 years, he is working in the National Accounts Division of the MoSPI, and MoSPI is Ministry of Statistics, Planning and Implementation. So it's the central government, the core ministry to handle the sizes of money, not the money. Money will get handled by finance, but the amount of money will be handled by them. Within this division itself, he looks after both the GBA, the corporate accounts, their contribution, and the GDP estimation. And for those who actually are into the methodological part, what he explains is we follow the UNSDC guidelines of 2008 to make the national accounts. And recently these have been revised, and countries have up to 2029 and 30 to migrate from the 2008 system to that. So my own interest comes from two of my collaborators. One, when I used to work at an institute, we had an economist colleague, and other, Professor Sunil Mani, was the Reserve Bank professor and director of Center for Development Studies, who focuses on economy and S&T. So we will start by asking Mr. Vinod that the background is, if we can't estimate the size, how do we make policy? And or how do we have data-driven policies to further enhance the economy? So in that context, earlier you could just go to the Government of India budget and generally look at the ISRO budget, what was their demand. what the PAC has done, and you can derive most of the output other than economic benefit. So we will start by asking Mr. Vinod Kumar what have been the efforts of InSpace to keep track of this rapidly evolving size of India's space economy.
Yeah, very good evening all. Thank you, sir, for this nice introduction. First of all, let me thank SIA-INDIA for coming out with this unique proposal, which is very close to our hearts, is the measurement of space economy. It all started with when we were planning the decadal vision and strategy. So we were getting this data from some sources, as sir has told, that we will take ISRO budget and say this is the economy. But post-space sector reform, the things have totally changed. So we tried our best, but some data we captured. Something is came and we announced, yeah, okay, it may be this number, to be very coarse. It's not a precise way. Then when we have seen this number and other estimation by other international agencies, they are throwing some different numbers. So this, being a scientist, we thought, oh yeah, what is this happening? Everyone has different number. There's no definite number. We need to find the way. So we started thinking in that direction. So I'll tell you some story on that, is that when during July 2023, I enrolled for IIM Lucknow CEO course. So in that they asked me to do some project. So I gave, why we should not take up this work? It may be whatever they let us see the challenge, some understanding will be there. So we did literature survey and other things. Then we went to the MoSPI. Met team from Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Then they asked us some questions as it is, tell us how many companies, which are the things. We had a very useful discussion with them. Parallelly, we were doing the project also. Then what happened, we gave them the list of 790 plus companies. These many companies are there. This is their CIN number. Now give us we thought it would be so easy. So we give them data. We identify 137 activities for this. And after that, we thought now it will come, but that was not so. Then came Secretary MoSPI and Chairman in space. They had a discussion. They formed a joint working group. It was in 2024, August or so, joint working group started working to lay out the roadmap. So this all started, we have 5-6 meetings and we presented full scheme to do this. Now when full scheme is there, we have released the form also. It's a very simple 6-page form which has been released at our website. So to get this data. Now ultimately, what is the motivation for this? Ultimately, as sir has told very clearly, that we need to make an informed policy decision. And strategic investment, it is very necessary that we should have these numbers. So that was the very first motivation. And we should be demonstrating value and justifying the investment. That's the another key factor which we thought, so that we can make out the policy support, what are the investment strategy, what is required. And it is also necessary to measure the performance. What is happening? We say this year we are 2%, next year we may be what percent. So this should be there should be some criteria to measure the performance and benchmarking. So if you see, very important person is, this is the private investment. And now we say that we have 800, 900 companies, they are working in the space sector, and we are just 2% of world economy. But this is not being captured. So this was the total motivation for us to dive deep into this and take the help of the only organization which gives number, and we all go as per that. That is the MoSPI, and we were very happy to get the support from them, guidance from them, and they are working with us. That's all with the initial remark. I will hand over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we will go to the government nodal agency, which in a framework measure the national account. So at the outset, I will say for space economy, there is a OECD framework. There are multiple frameworks, and in US, many of the goods are specifically specific number if they are related to the satellite. And if you look at that statistics and pick those numbers, it is possible to get. We would try to understand from Mr. Brijendra Singh what challenges are there to create numbers on space economy independent of the overall economy the way they are doing. Yes.
Okay, so good evening. The very first issue that comes to my mind is defining the scope or the boundary which is to be construed as a space economy. So suppose we want to define space economy, are we just considered with the exploration of space and related activities, or the enablers which enable such type of activities? Or suppose we talk about satellite making. Satellite making, definitely we will say that manufacturing of satellites is directly related to space, but then there would be components of satellites which are manufactured independently and then they become a part of satellites. So how far do we go backwards, which is known as backward linkage? And then there is a forward linkage. For example, suppose we have some space related applications in navigation, communication, etc. So that is one downstream application of the space related activities. But again, the question is that where do we stop? Suppose I have a navigation instrument which is enabled by satellite navigation, and then it is embedded in another equipment whose cost is more than of that would be offset by the introduction of the equipment. Say suppose it costed 100 rupees earlier, but navigation equipment was for 20 rupees. So now, because it is a bundle, it is value addition is being construed as 150, not 120. So whether this 30 rupees extra also has been cost due to navigation equipment or not. So both backward and forward linkages have to be there, but the question is where do we draw the boundary, because it goes into infinite regress if we just keep on going like that. So normally what, as the moderator has already indicated, that there are other frameworks also. So mostly other countries and frameworks do adopt almost the midstream activities, then direct activities which facilitate the midstream activities, and direct applications of those activities. So first part, when we met, because we are not domain experts, and that was actually coming from InSpace and other experts which were part of the group. So that the first part was to how to define the boundary, because then only we will start measuring what comes into the boundary. Subsequently, we also have to be aware that what is the data ecosystem in the country. So when we say that we have to measure space economy, so do we assume that presently space economy is not measured in the GDP at all? So the answer would be no, it is measured, but it is not possible to segregate the component which could be called as the space economy. So it is not that space economy is excluded. Mostly, as per the data availability, the measurement of space economy is already embedded into the GDP estimation of the country. But now, again, there is a question that if it is already there, what is the problem in not getting it directly from national accounts estimates? So I will tell you how the data flows and the GDP estimation is largely organized. So we have the entire economy is partitioned into the actors. That is one way of classifying the economy, in which we have private corporations, public corporations, general government, households, and non-profit institutions serving household. This is one way of partitioning entire economy, and we can have GVA, which is contributed by general government, by corporations, and so on and so forth. The other way is that we have industrial activities. For example, we have GVA for agriculture, GVA for mining, GVA of manufacturing, trading, etc. So when we talk about, suppose now let us take an example of general government, and we have a Mahalanobis crop forecasting center. So that part is already, the value addition for the Mahalanobis crop forecasting center is already there in the GVA, which is being accounted for presently, but most probably it will be going into agriculture sector. So now those type of elements, because space is not one of the partition elements as such, otherwise it would be very easy to cull it out. So it is something which covers more than one type of industrial activities and different types of actors also. Similarly, if we talk about industrial activities, for example, there would be satellites and components, and then they would be manufactured. So there will be manufacturing, a component of value addition in the manufacturing. There will also be a component of trading services, which will be when these parts are traded. And similarly, there will be part of services and so on. For example, satellites are launched. So presently, even though we have the information somewhere embedded, we do not have the granularity to cull out that information or extricate that information from the overall GDP accounts and tell that this is the contribution of the space economy. That is why we had to resort to surveys, which probably will be elaborating further. Thank you.
So thank you. I think both Mr. Vinod Kumar and Mr. Brijendra Singh have explained to you the challenges and the current status. Now, two more, dimensions are there. The first dimension for the government or many people, especially for government, is to estimate the benefit to the economy from space before government invests in space. The second important thing is they need to project where we are and where we want to be. It could be aspirational or it could be based on hard facts available from various other sectors. So I'm going to invite comments both from Mr. Vinod Kumar and Brijendra on, given the challenges in size of economy and which they have estimated to whatever level of uncertainty, how are they dealing with the economic benefits of space and which we see only in newspapers going to 30, 35, 44 billion dollars. Yeah, please.
Interesting question. See, there are the two parts of any economy, space economy especially. One is the direct benefit and other is the indirect benefit. Indirect benefit is really hard to estimate. We can say that ISRO has developed the fishing terminals where potential fishing zones are identified. Now you can compute the direct benefit is that he found this much fish catch, but he is saving on fuel, his daytime labor, etc. It's really difficulty. But here main aim is to estimate the direct benefit. And as Sri Brijendra ji has told already, that the requirement is GVA, is the gross value added. Any company is a output, what is the input? The difference of that is GVA. That is very instrumental in computing the direct benefit to the, or direct value added to this, to estimate the economy. Now it comes to us that when we started this exercise, there was some definition like OECD has done, ESA has also brought out report, USBEA has some methods. So they have defined the space economy definition. So we deliberated in our JWG to define the scope, define the boundaries, so which is displayed here for easy consumption. We are the way it is defined. But to compute really benefits is really big task. But ISRO has carried out around 1.58 times, I think, some survey is carried out. But they are all numbers. Again, it comes when we cannot estimate the direct, what is the contribution to national GDP, those numbers, again, there may be error. Error may be large also, we don't know. So the motivation for this comes that it is not just an accounting exercise. This, whatever is not accounting, it will add value. It is to develop the strategic policies and all. That's why this requirement is there. It's a strategic tool for investment, for sustainability of space sector and all. So we should really look forward to capture those numbers up to whatever uncertainty. That's all, sir.
So I'll slightly modify for Mr. Brijendra Singh. for government economy, there's very good estimates available for GDP growth, and forecasts are also there based on economic activity. So what do you see as difficulty in having growth rate estimated for the space economy?
Again, I mean, because if we talk about the major constituents, for example, Department of Space budget, that is very easy to get, and that is very easy to probably see past few years and have an idea as to what the government is going to allocate further. But when we talk about other players like startups, companies, and such, so their dynamics is changing very fast. I mean, post-COVID, it has changed very fast. But as of now also, and the data flows from them, because for government part, we all have central government budget and state government budget, so things are very clear as to what are the revenues which are flowing in, what are the expenditures, and whether it is investment type of expenditure or current type of expenditure or salary and wages. So that can be very easily culled out from the budget documents. But from corporate sector also, it is fairly easy, because if suppose a startup is incorporated as a company, I mean, about 300-400 startups I could find in Ministry of Corporate Affairs database, though most of them have been incorporated after around 22, 23 or 24. So in a lot of cases, they have not filed their annual returns with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And only we could find around 50 or so for 2022, and they were accounting for around 600 crores of GVA in 2022. Even in those 50, probably top 4 were around 400. So rest were just 2 crore, 1 crore, 3 crore, these type of startups. So the problem is that to ensure the data flow, because rest of the startups, for example, the remaining which had not filed with Ministry of Corporate Affairs, we assume that they are indirectly incorporated into the estimates through a multiplier, because we know the universe, we know the reporting, and so we estimate for the non-filing through a multiplier in the overall economy level. But when we are talking about sector-specific estimates, probably the overall multiplier may not be offsetting the non-reporting in a particular sector. So those type of issues would be there. And I'm not very sure whether there is a household or unincorporated sector which is venturing into space, but otherwise for that also now we have annual survey of unincorporated sector enterprise. So even that would be partially available from there.
Thank you. So before we open up, I have another group question to Mr. Vinod Kumar and InSpace. See, globally, if you look at it, there are estimates available on economy by industry associations. US and global, and the think tanks also they have. And InSpace has actively worked with major consultants, PwC and others also. I think all the big four, perhaps you and Antriksh Corporation have worked with. So the question is, they have come up with some number, but what is reported in news media is the projection. Now, the numbers do not finally meet the projection, because something action needs to be done. So with whatever is numbers available to you, how are you ensuring that expected aspiration or the economy scale up happens? It's a set of related question of estimation, the spur in the growth, as well as your policy decisions.
Excellent question, sir. I'll tell you that when we were doing that as a CAGR of 16%, we aspired to become $44 billion. But my study since 23, I'm deeply involved, and I have done one project also. This portion is only commercial. So now there are the two things. First thing, that this $44 billion requires an investment of $22 billion. And if you see, Government of India has already sanctioned the project worth $7 billion. So $44 billion, mein you need $22 billion, $7 billion is already accounted. If you account all space projects, like landing on moon, Bharatiya Antariksha Station, SBS, if you combine all these things, it will come to that. And major part will come from the private sector for this. So I'm sure that for next 10 years, if investment comes, if $2 billion is roughly budget of ISRO itself, so you will have sufficient investment to reach those numbers. And we are sure that like in IT we have done, we will certainly surpass those numbers. The second very important question, the answer to this is in the space policy, decadal vision and strategy, we have defined the ways to achieve this. We need to develop the space culture, space awareness. So InSpace has started a space awareness workshop. Dedicated team is formed, which is contacting all government departments, PSUs and state government. They are conducting the workshops, say what we can do for you, how we can do. If they say that this is the thing you want to do, POC for that, we are bringing out the seed fund scheme for that. We will fund it, we'll demonstrate the project, provided you give the order to them. So this is the kind of initiative, the awareness is necessary. We will do the POC for them. We have contacted all the state government department and central government department. We have written directly to around 90 plus central government and 35 all states and UTs. So slowly in the steps we will take and we will demonstrate that. So these steps will certainly lead to this, because consumption or usage of space product is necessary to, and or participation of general public is necessary to take it to these numbers. And I'm sure like we did in ITBT in 99, nobody expected where we'll go. Space is likely to touch heights, and we are sure. That is the reason we have come out with this, and we should appreciate the MoSPI efforts. They have taken it very seriously, and they have released this 6-page form, very interesting page, and we really need your help to arrive at those numbers, sir. Thank you.
I think because this entire exercise involves the companies also as responders, and I'm sure they are all well represented in the audience. We will open up for questions at this moment before we have our final round. So may I invite the participation from the floor? Yeah, please, you can identify yourself and address.
My name is Ranjit Sinha. I represent Alumni Association of NIT Surat. In that capacity, I have another query or one aspect of the space economy we want to know. That is the exposure of Indian entrepreneurs from the technical background. So space economy exposure, any policy guidelines government is taking?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so basically what we have done two things in this. We have developed a dedicated course on space policy, law and benefits. This is short-term 1 week skill development course. And I was really surprised, it was an overwhelming response. We could not expand the room, but we could adjust more chairs, and it became 70. I said, no, yeah, next time we will conduct this course. That is the kind of enthusiasm is there. The second is one optional course we have designed on same thing, space economy, benefits, policy and law. This is adopted, in my knowledge, by 2-3 universities already. So this is an optional course. Course is available. It is a AICTE approved course. This is available for adoption. Let me know if experts are there. We have experts, those who can teach these subjects from policy, law, and space economy benefits. So that is the 2 steps we have already adopted, and people are certainly have accepted this much more than other our technical courses.
Interesting.
That's my say, sir. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Who would go next?
Hi, sir. I have a question for Dr. Vinod ji. Sir, when we see ISRO and NASA budgets, right, so there is a 15x factor difference. And similarly, when we are looking at the startup ecosystem, because as part of the initiatives of InSpace, we get an opportunity to meet global startups. So similarly, in a government sector, there's a 15x factor, but in the private sector also, if you see the range of the pre-seed or Series A, B, C funding, there's a huge difference. But space is difficult. We have to deal with complex projects, and it's very capital intensive. So are there initiatives from the InSpace or government side to make the risk capital more available to set these global standards in the space infrastructure projects?
Yeah, excellent question. So I'll tell you what we have taken steps is from, first thing is we have pre-incubation entrepreneurship development program. If you have any idea, anyone, any age, he should be graduate or final year, give it to us. We will see that that it is fructified. If you have any idea, submit to us. First announcement we already did. Second, we will plan after some time. And we got 105 proposals. 10 is selected to take it forward. So that is the first where we give 2 lakh for innovate only, or submit the report, 10 lakh for demonstration. Then we have up to 1 crore seed fund scheme grant in aid. They are the baby step to nurture the ideas so that no idea should go waste. Now, in addition to this, there are many technologies which are at TRL 4, 3, whatever it is, technical adoption fund, which is worth 500 crore. So that is the another thing to infuse this capital, and each company can get up to 25 CR. Then there is a 1,000 crore venture capital fund, which is AIF 2. So where it is not 1,000, even others can, angel investor can invest to this, and should we identify to implement this investment. So that is another thing. There are the many more schemes like FDI scheme. We have FDI is relaxed like anything. It's very lucrative FDI, where earlier it was through administrative route, that too only in satellite. Now all 3 sectors are open, like in satellite making 74% automatic route it is. Then administrative route, if the approval you get, it can go up to 100%. In subsystem making, it is 100% automatic route. Automatic route means you inform RBI and in this space and you start working. And in launch vehicle also 49% automatic route, and after that also it is possible if you are adding value. So these are the some initiatives for investment, and we are carrying out the investor awareness campaign also, so that investment comes into this. As far as budget for ISRO is concerned, it is well known. It's a public number, even government. But what happens, that's the reason that private sector, I see one company has 55, 56 employees. They are spending so much yearly. They are telling us revenue when we meet, but when we are asking, they are keeping quiet. So issue is to characterize that, to estimate at least up to certain, actually our responsibility is also there. That will encourage us to bring out more and more schemes. So our request remains, yes, we have put the policy, we are trying to do our best. At the same time, we need encouragement from you so that we can have good numbers to tell to the world thus where do we stand, right? I hope that's all from my side.
Yeah, I'll just add also one more point. The investment is also like confidence building and cumulative. And second, we shouldn't see NASA alone. We should take the Department of Defense also, because their budget is even more than the NASA. So the private investment there is sort of contributing that. And the third important point is, till now, the communication which generates most revenue was actually government. Now communication satellites have been opened, right, to private, so people can own a geostationary satellite and do it. So because of this, the whole scenario and the investment is likely to change. This is, yeah. So yes, sir, please.
So my name is Samir Kalia. I'm from a company called MCI, but it's a follow-up question from him. I'm also a lead investor with Indian Angels Network. It's the oldest network for startups, angels. We are very interested in space, and we've tied up with IIT Madras incubation cells and many other incubation cells. I'm very interested in what you just said. So if I want that network to be tied up with your incubation cell and your schemes, how do I move forward for that?
It's very simple, sir. We have a website, inspace.gov.in. Please register yourself in the category we have listed. Tell about yourself. You are part of our ecosystem, and you can drop a mail to me. My email ID is there. We will certainly make you a part of this. You can hear the beauty of this is when you get user ID password, you can see other companies which are doing what they are doing. So it is both the way. So they will get benefited because they have done their capabilities. Additionally, we are publishing some coffee table books also with their capabilities and contact details. So that also you can refer. And this all is published at our website. So all publications are there. Please download, like Decadal Vision is there, and many other documents are there. Everything goes through edispace.gov.in. Please register yourself and take the benefit. Thank you.
Perfect. So all the startups that you are backing are available on your website?
100%, sir. Those who are working and active for anything like authorization application, they have to first register. Tell us about themselves. And then we approve, and then work starts from there. So even our functions and programs, we insist that they should register with us so that they're part of ecosystem. And I'm very happy to tell around 9,000 plus registrations are there. We permit individual registrations also, organizations also, associations also, company, large, small, medium, all kind of companies. But yes, active companies are very actively participating in all these things.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Gentlemen.
Hi, sir. Good evening. My name is Yash Doshi. I'm an investment banker by profession. So, just wanted to quickly ask one simple question is, so as we know, right, all space tech companies are largely capital intensive, and the timeline to develop any product and move towards commercialization is long. So what would be your suggestion to the private sector, VCs or private equity funds, to evaluate, and which milestones and metrics to prioritize in order to strike a balance between supporting them as well as generating returns for them?
No, I'll first request Vinod Kumar. The very important question. Only thing is, do we have the answer?
Yeah, I will try to give. It's a very pertinent question, and being a government, we cannot say that X is good, Y is not good. So that is the one thing, but we have a solution for this. Categorization of this, we will work out a scheme shortly, where we will take the help of agency on volunteer basis and try to categorize them in some kind of bronze, gold, or silver, whatever. You're working on this, certainly it will come out. But at present, we leave it to your wisdom, your interaction with them, but you can get certain kind of hints when you are registered with us. So you register yourself, try to see, discuss what are the capabilities, but it has to be your evaluation. Even after that, when we carry out, we will not be a part of it. It will be some third agency, volunteer basis, what they want to give to them, how they do. But yes, there is just one scheme in mind, which is we are working. As soon as it comes, we'll try to implement this. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just add to what Vinod has said. The downstream activities perhaps require not that high type of investment. In fact, if you look at global numbers, a very large percentage, 30 plus, is related to ground equipment. The same equipment is used by other things, what is in a ground station, your computing and processing environment, etc. So if they try to create specialized hardware for space-related activity, it is a third. And as you can understand, because of long gestation period, people with deep pockets also invest, right? It has a longer route. In between there could be some setbacks, but in the end you create global companies like the SpaceX, right? So the stratification is very well there. Case studies are also available. So one can decide where he wants to do. I would like to add, some of the state governments, Kerala, Andhra, Karnataka, have also made their own state space policy. And they are also promoting the incubator and startup system. So a tie-up with that will perhaps also allow you to have better judgment. That is something.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Gujarat also, I said, correct.
Thanks.
Yes. So we have order from High Command to close. Yeah. So one question which Vinod has is last, and then Mr. Brijendra.
Yeah. So the question is, we have released the form on 2nd April 2025. Very poor response. What is the issue? I want to understand. You can tell me now, email. Yes, sir. Cup of coffee. Yeah, sir wants to say something. If it is any problem, we will try to solve, simplify the form. It's very simple, 6-page document. You have everything in your income tax filing and all that. Yes, sir.
So it is not about particularly related to in-space per se. It's a generic problem that we have in the country. What happens is there are so many regulators, and people have to look at different regulators. So for example, TRA, SEBI, RBI, in-space, anybody can come out with anything for consultation and asking for comments or inputs. Now instead of doing that, if you do one additional step, that is, if you notify it in the official gazette, that becomes a single source for everybody, whether they are in industry or in think tanks or academia or anywhere, and that becomes a single source for people. So give a summary there, put the main details on your website, you'll get much better responses. Thank you.
I think
Also do a press release.
Thank you.
Also do a press release through PIB. Thank you.
Brijendra, some comment in other sector.
So I think Brijendra Singh is
Interesting point.
hoping to get real data in hand to compute the national account. On this note, I thank you all for very active participation, and Mr. Vinod Kumar for really, coming out forth with all their plan and all the efforts which have been done. I would again say, estimating the size of the economy is an essential step for having improved policy and the growth of the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our panelists, for a thought-provoking session. Before you leave, gentlemen, we would like to facilitate you with a small memento. I would request Mr. Anil Prakash to present the same to them. And we are, of course, running a little delayed on this, so request you to take all the questions offline from now onwards, and we'll commence with our next session. Thank you.